Lost our seat. This does not belong to us anymore. This is not us anymore. Even maize is not us anymore. We've lost our seats. How did this happen? The agricultural sector in Africa over the years have been thriving. Farmers have been thriving because they understood that when you plant a crop, the best crop in the farm, you get the seed, you preserve it for the following year to grow. So we had our indigenous tomato seeds, we had indigenous pepper seed, and we had an indigenous seed, maize seed. And these were really doing extremely well. It's been doing well for thousands of years before we came to a point of industrialization. At this point of industrialization, research was done and amazing things happened. Seeds were more productive. So they were more productive, and what happened? Different companies came in with different agenda and decided to hijack it. Now, how do you control a people? How do you sell and keep them dependent on you? The most important thing in the agricultural sector is the seed, because this is the foundation of the plant. So they took away the seed. How did they do it? They designed genetically modified organisms or plants. And these plants, basically, when you grow them, the first season, the second season, you have the F2 generation. With the F2 generation, the performance drastically reduces, which means it's going to be less productive. And the third generation, you might not even harvest anything. So it makes it in such a way that farmers will always have to buy new seeds, new F1 generations, which means when you plant this tomato, you cannot extract the seeds from this tomato and plant because it's going to be prone to diseases. The size of the tomato will drop, the quantity, the total production is going to reduce. So farmers will have to go back and keep buying this. So farmers in Africa have lost their seed. We've lost our seed. And the seed is sovereignty. It's like, it is us. This is what gives us power as farmers. So when you lose your seed, what happens? You have to depend on those who produce the seed. Now, if that was even the case, it would have even been better. But now it's a whole system in place. Now, these seeds are genetically GMOs and all of that. For them to work particularly well and do extremely well, what happens? What is needed? Now, inorganic fertilizers are very good with them. They have been designed in such a way that they are highly responsive to the use of inorganic fertilizers, the use of pesticides, which means in as much as they grow very big and higher yield, they are always prone to what? To pests and diseases. So you have to go back to these same companies, these 1% companies that control the world, the Monsanto, the Syngenta, and all these 1% company, and do what? Buy their fertilizers. For you to have that yield, you must buy fertilizers. You must be able to get pesticides from all these different companies to grow this seed. Which means at the end of it, farmers are left frustrated. African farmers are left frustrated because they don't have a choice. Now, when it comes to the maize plant, you can choose and say, as a farmer, I don't want to grow maize. You can say, okay, I don't love to grow maize that is probably improved varieties and all these varieties. I want to grow my indigenous maize. But the effect of a farm, your neighboring farm, there is always room for contamination, can be contaminated. It means if your neighbor grows the genetically modified plants or the improved varieties, the GMOs, your farm will be infected, and eventually your farm is going to have these improved varieties inside, embedded. So this is what is happening. In other countries, you are not permitted to use this seed because the seed rights are with the company. So you have to always make sure. So if they come to your farm and discover your farm has been contaminated, you lose the entire farm. If they find out that there are GMOs there which you do not get from these companies, you have issues. Someday it's going to be the same situation in Africa. And now our farmers are purely dependent on the West. We don't have food sovereignty again. We've lost our indigenous seeds. This is what is going on in Africa. So I think something has to be done. We have to open our eyes to what is going on, the relevant things that are going on in Africa, because we need change. We need our seed back. We need our seed back. We need to have power over our seed.